Hello and good evening. Welcome to the 2025 Social Innovator Showcase. My name is Julie Batilana. I am the founder and faculty chair of the Social Innovation and Change Initiative, also known here as SICI. I'm delighted to be here tonight with you to kick off the celebration of the inspiring work of our students. Ten years ago, we launched SICI at the Harvard Kennedy School with a bold mission to accelerate the world's capacity for positive social change. We were convinced at the time, as we still are today, that academic institutions like Harvard have a critical role to play in generating and disseminating knowledge that is helpful and useful to the practitioners at the forefront of positive social change. My work on change-making has taught me that agitating against the status quo is not enough. If we truly want to see change happen, we must also innovate by designing better approaches and orchestrate by ensuring that those solutions are adopted and sustained. That's why the work of social innovators is so critical. They are not only imagining new possibilities, they are making them real. Today, their work feels especially urgent. At a time when universities like Harvard are under attack, and in the context of global social, economic, political, and environmental turmoil, we must continue to defend our rights and strengthen the institutions that uphold them. And we must support leaders like our students tonight who are working towards a vision of a world that is more sustainable, more just, and more democratic. The amazing students you're going to see on stage tonight are part of our accelerator at SICI. They are known as Chang Fellows, named after the program's donor and college alum, Adrian Chang. From the start, our vision for this program was to create an accelerator that would be rooted in both practice and research, and that would provide the students who are part of this accelerator not only with financial resources, but also with skill building, mentorship, and community. The Chang Fellow you're going to see present tonight have not only been full-time students here at Harvard University over the past year, they've also been brave enough to be full-time social innovators. Our team at SICI is supporting them throughout the year, weekly, sometimes even daily, as they work to advance their social change efforts. We've shared in their frustrations and breakthroughs, their challenges, and their successes. Tonight, you will witness the results of the amazing work that they've done, and you will be able to support them as they get ready to launch and lead initiatives around the world and across sectors, in the not-for-profit, public, corporate, social enterprise sectors. We could not be prouder of their commitment, of their progress, of their contributions to solving some of the most pressing problems of our time. These students, to be clear, had countless career options, yet they have chosen the courageous path, the path of purpose-driven leadership. As we gather here tonight around the fellows, I cannot help but be reminded of the words of Margaret Mead. I'm sure many of you know those words. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. It's the only thing that ever has. This community of Chang Fellows is determined to do just that. And they cannot do it alone. While you're going to see some extraordinary social innovators on stage tonight, this event and our work at SICI is about mobilizing all of us. And it is even more important that we do so today. So I do have a special request for each and every one of you tonight. please, please do not leave this event without connecting with the fellows whose work resonates with you. Please do not leave this event without talking to the fellows whose work you can support. Now, here is how the evening is going to unfold. Each student has prepared a 3-minute presentation organized by theme. We'll announce each theme, followed by the names of all the fellows who will be presenting as part of this theme. And once all the presentations are complete, we've set aside an hour with additional food and drink so that you can get involved. This is the time when I'm asking you to please do not leave, remember that, unless you've had a chance to connect with at least one of our fellows, and hopefully maybe more, so that we can work all together as part of the movement to address the pressing issues that I know we all care about. Before I introduce our next speaker, I'd like to take a moment to thank a few people. To the amazing SICI team, thank you for making this program possible, for making it a reality, for all your work. I couldn't be more grateful, and I know the students couldn't be more grateful. I'd especially like to thank Ali, Brittany, Devin, and Claudia, who lead the Chang Fellowship. Thank you for your dedication by mentoring and supporting the students the way you do daily, both inside and outside the classroom. You've helped them grow as change makers and truly amplify their impact. Thank you also to Chloe, Leszek, Sydney, and Mel, who helped bring this event to life. We're also grateful. And of course, thank you to each and every one of you and to our alumni community. I know we have some of our alums in the room tonight. I know some of them are also joining us online. I know how hard the work you're doing is, but I also know, and we also know, how essential it is. Thank you. I am now honored to pass the mic to Lily Penna, who has spent the past 2 years with us at the Social Innovation and Change Initiative as one of our Marla and Barry Beck visiting social innovator. Our visiting social innovators are a group of experienced, accomplished practitioners, and they play a vital role in the Chang Fellowship and in our life at SICI. Lily, alongside Selena De Sola, Michelle Miller, and Ray Faustino, has been instrumental in shaping the social change effort of our students, mentoring them, working with them, helping them make progress. A little bit more about Lily. Lily is the founder of MyBank, the UK's leading financial education provider. Under her leadership, MyBank reached over 300,000 people and successfully advocated to make financial education a part of the national school curriculum. Today, Lily is the CEO of Glio, where she runs executive coaching for government, multinationals, and startups. And she's also the co-founder of Verve Leaders, the advisory service that supports brave professionals in using their voice. It is my great pleasure to welcome Lily to the stage to introduce our teams and incredible students.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you so much. What a difficult act to follow, I have to tell you. I am so pleased to be here tonight. I think at a time like today, it is more important than ever to speak up about social impact. And so I am delighted to be sharing this stage with some of the most incredible social entrepreneurs I have had the privilege to work with. So I have been with SICI, as Julie said, for 2 years, and I have had the absolute honor of accompanying some of our SICI fellows. Yes. There simply won't be enough applauses for them tonight, I'm warning you. But accompanying them along the sort of opportunities and the challenges that they have faced as social entrepreneurs, as well as those that they have faced as full-time students here at Harvard. And I often stopped and wondered, how do you do it? And do you ever sleep at night? No. I thought so. And as a social entrepreneur myself, I know something about sleepless nights. I was in my early 20s living in London when I was staring at this huge gap in the education system. And the gap was around financial education. We interact with money every day, And yet every school I went to was failing young people at developing the skills, the knowledge, and the confidence to effectively manage their money and help them with that part of their future. And so I thought, let's put together a great team of people who are passionate about this, and let's see how we can move the needle. And so we created a social enterprise called My Bank. And within the first 5 years, we had the privilege of working with and reaching 300,000 young people. But I woke up feeling like it was never enough. And I knew that if I was to reach all young people just in the UK, it would take probably the next 4 generations of my family to do that. And so I thought, how can we do this differently? And I went about lobbying government. I had proof of concept. I'd collected data points from all 300,000 young people we worked with, and we knew that what we were doing made a difference. So we went to government and we set about this 2-year crazy journey of trying to convince 240 MPs in England to bring about financial education and make it a compulsory part of the UK curriculum. And it worked. So that was my entrepreneurial journey. And when I look back to that journey, I think, my God, there was so much effort and so much grit. And I wish I had had a Harvard. I wish I had had a SICI. I wish I had a program that would provide me with all of those opportunities, the access, the education. And I think that if I had had that, I would probably have had more impact, and more importantly, I would probably have got there much quicker. So I've had the absolute pleasure of now working with SICI as a practitioner for them, as a mentor for the students. And what I love about this program is that it is intentional, it is systemic, and it is innovative. And it provides a thriving environment for both, I think, social entrepreneurs and social enterprises. Do you agree? Yes, okay, good. I think in this moment, when so much around us is changing so fast, I am reminded of the importance not only of education, but of education that speaks to the reality of this moment. And it's really through programs like Sheng here at Harvard and SICI that I see this ability that they have to support students at the intersections that matter the most. So for our students, it's this intersection of where they are at on their entrepreneurial journey, but also of where and how the world around them and the systems around them are changing, are shifting, and more recently are breaking, right? We've seen some breakages that we have never witnessed before in the social impact space. So just 1 year of working with you guys, I have seen incredible transformation. You have turned early stage ideas into highly functioning ventures, and I see ventures that function poorly all the time, so I'm really impressed. You have taken existing organizations into organizations that now reach a much greater scale and that are more relevant today than ever. And I really want to stop for a moment and say to all of you that you have done this amongst standing on the quicksand of disorienting change in the landscape of funding and in the landscape of social impact. So I really take my hat off to you. I really do. And I want to give you a round of applause. Tonight, we get to hear how they have navigated those sands of change with grit and grace. And it is my absolute pleasure to introduce you to all of them, broken into 4 different categories. So, first of all, we are going to start with the not so easy task of establishing peace and justice in the world. Okay. So peace and justice are 2 concepts that are intrinsically linked, often spoken of with platitudes and assumptions. Yet anyone who has engaged in the effort of peace building knows that creating peace while seeking justice is an incredibly difficult task. We live in a complex world where many differing perspectives need to be honored in the pursuit of justice and cared for in the process of achieving peace. So put your hands together for 3 very brave individuals that have taken this task on with great grit. I would like to welcome Eduardo Vasconcelos, Hannah Wong, and Karen Shu. Thank you.
How many of you have walked into a classroom not knowing if you'd get out of it alive? In the past few years, over 7 million kids and teenagers have suffered violence while inside their schools in Brazil. This crisis is not unique to students, but it also severely affects teachers. In 2019, a study showed that 7 in every 10 teachers have suffered violence while exercising their profession in the country. My name is Eduardo Vasconcelos. I'm a student at Harvard College, and I work with the prevention of youth violence since I'm 15 years old, be it in Brazil's Congress, in regional departments of education, or in East Harlem's Association to Benefit Children. I grew up going to public school in the Federal District, the state with the top 1 highest rates of school violence across the 27 Brazilian states, closely witnessing how challenging it is to be a child and a teenager in one of the most violent countries for the youth in the world. The program I co-founded, Young Peace Builders in Public Schools, tackles the problem of school violence through a community-driven model of building safer schools. In the most violent school environments, we invest in the students as catalysts for change by training them to be peace builders. Through a comprehensive curriculum encompassing conflict resolution, mental health resources, and leadership training, the students lead the charge in reducing violence among their peers. In our first year, we partnered with the Department of Education of the Federal District, where we formed 350 student peace builders and provided therapeutic activities to 15,000 students. In the last 2 years, we launched 2 national cohorts, training peace builders from 10 different Brazilian states and organizing 2 national conferences for peace in schools. Over the next few years, we aim to become a center of excellence, facilitating peace-building activities across the 27 Brazilian states. While we remain committed to grassroots change, it was thanks to the Social Innovation and Change Initiative that we were invited to testify at a congressional hearing in Brazil and started to contribute to a global movement for peace in schools. A key partnership last semester was between Young Peace Builders and the Child Mind Institute, the world's leading organization on child and adolescent well-being. This year, they invited me to lead a global youth council on mental health. The first iteration will be launched in August with participants from 6 countries in 3 different continents. For Young Peace Builders, we would be honored to count on your nominations or self-candidacy as we build our first board of advisors. Join us as we envision and work for a world where students can learn and thrive without fearing for their lives and well-being. Thank you.
All right. Hey, everyone. I'm Hannah. I'm the founder of Remarcation, where we are redefining, remaking, and reclaiming disability in public space. I am also the first legally blind student to attend Harvard's Graduate School of Design, which I hope is a surprise to you, because it was absolutely a surprise to me, considering that 1 in every 6 people has a disability. But this is actually very representative of the way that disability and public space works. 70% of disabled users, myself included, have gone to a public space that they could not access. Why? It's because what we consider to be universal accessibility isn't actually universal. Let me explain. So if we take tactile paving, for example, which is a navigational aid meant to help people like me who are legally blind, it's actually hindering for people like my friend Elizabeth, who uses a wheelchair. Because features of the built environment that help some inherently harm others, there is no way to design universally accessible space. So we can't have this unreachable goal of designing space for all. But we can give disabled users better information so that they can confidently navigate public space. I spent the past year researching this, and in my surveys of disabled Harvard students, I found that over 80% said that they would feel more confident if they had better accessibility information on their public spaces. And other studies confirm this, with 71% of disabled users saying that they would want an app that provides accessibility information, and 66% of disabled users saying they would want to contribute information to help others. So, Remarcation does both. We created an interface that both collects and delivers accessibility information on public space. But Remarcation is so much more than just an app. We developed a proprietary framework that rethinks the entire concept of access. We are putting the power back in the hands of disabled users by letting them define their own access needs. And when you combine personal needs with quantified data, we allow them to make informed decisions on where they want to go, giving them autonomy over their bodies and over their spaces. Right now, we have a team of amazing 8 disabled designers working through a pilot in 6 of Harvard's libraries. But I'm looking tonight to make connections to local organizations who share our mission and may be interested in also piloting our work. So if you're part of a community or organization or institution that uses public space and might be interested in learning more about the accessibility of that space, please come chat with me so we can fight for a more just, inclusive, and beautiful world. Thank you.
Eduardo, Hannah, and Karen, thank you so very much. Another round of applause for them. So let me ask you a question. What is one of the biggest changes that you've seen in the world of work? Your work or the people that work around you? What comes to mind? Yes, sir. Remote work, absolutely. Maybe one more? AI, oh my goodness, I predicted those two. Can you believe it? So here in my notes I have, for this category on upskilling the workforce, from the advent of AI and new technologies to the integration of remote work in our lives, the world of work is rapidly changing. And this can often give us pause, but I believe, and we will see for ourselves tonight, that within this change, there is huge opportunity. And where we are able to build new economies, share knowledge in new ways, and open new possibilities to entirely new populations is where we see great and significant change in this category. And tonight you're going to hear from 3 incredible social entrepreneurs about their journey into this area of work. So I would like to welcome Haley Howe, Johannes Yumbe Salou, and Jeff Ashepong. Thank you so much.
On March 14, 2014, a stampede happened in Nigeria. The Nigerian Immigration Service had launched a national recruitment campaign to recruit 4,000 young people into the public service. Guess what? 6.5 million young Nigerians stormed recruitment centers, hoping to get a spot. 16 young people lost their lives. Stampedes across Africa are a common occurrence. It has happened in Malawi, in Zimbabwe, and most recently in the Republic of Congo, and has claimed many young lives. This highlights the challenges and the frustration young people continue to face on a continent where 12 million young people graduate from university, but yet employers, 54% of employers can't find the right talent, while 47% of young people say they find the job application very frustrating. Introducing Nanade. Nanade is an African word which means to hire or to employ. It's an AI-powered job matching platform that bridges gap between talent and opportunity. And this is how Nanade works. A user creates a profile on our platform and uploads their CV. Our Nanade AI algorithms analyzes their skills, competencies, and gaps. The user then gets tailored job recommendation and skills matches. And lastly, the employer gets recommendation for matched candidates. So far, we've presented Nanade at 2 conferences here at Harvard. We've tested our model with over 300 African CVs. We've been awarded the Harvard Innovation SPAC grants most recently, and we've secured partnerships with 2 universities and a job platform. I bring over 10 years of experience working in the area of youth skills and employability, and we've been able to deploy programs that have impacted the lives of over 4 million young Africans. We are asking for $250,000 to help enhance our AI capabilities and functionalities. We are also looking for strategic partnerships with educational institutions and content providers. And also, we are looking to support our growth in pilot countries such as Nigeria, Rwanda, Ghana, and South Africa. And yes, I get it. Talent is universal, but opportunity is not. But we cannot afford to keep losing young people from stampedes just because they are looking for a shot in life. I believe we can do better. Thank you.
Thank you. In 2015, I visited Ghana for the first time since my family and I emigrated when I was 13. While in Ghana, I taught orphans life skills through entrepreneurship. These were some of the most brilliant students I'd ever encountered, walking barefoot for miles every single day just to learn. One morning, while teaching them, I had a light bulb moment. The only reason why I was in front of the classroom and not the other way around was because I had opportunity. Opportunity to move abroad for school, to raise enough funds, and to return home. This insight led me to build a deeper bond with my students, only to realize that none of them wanted to further their education because they knew then what I know now. In Ghana, completing a university does not guarantee a job. In fact, every year, 12 million African youths enter the job market, but only 3 million find work in the formal sector. To address this problem, my team and I launched Blossom Academy, where we identify underserved youths across Ghana and Nigeria, equip them with data and leadership skills, and then connect them to meaningful employment opportunities. In collaboration with mission-aligned organizations, we've trained nearly 700 students directly while maintaining an 85% career placement rate. On average, our graduates go on to triple their incomes. Our story proves that when African youths are given the relevant skills, they rise to the occasion. From helping informal market women become data-driven, to building machine learning models to predict health outcomes using patient data. Now, we are scaling. We're initially expanding to Rwanda in collaboration with Digital Africa. We are launching globally recognized certification programs to help underemployed professionals pivot into high-growth AI-driven careers. Our team is uniquely positioned to scale this impact. Alice has trained governments across West Africa in digital transformation. Delphina and Jethro have placed thousands through workforce development programs. And I, Jeffa Champon, previously worked as a data solutions consultant and a founding member of a unicorn startup. Back when I was 13, I had to leave Ghana in order to maximize my potential. Today, I envision a world where no one has to leave in order to thrive. A world where Africa's youth are capable of serving emerging markets. A world where every young African, regardless of background, can maximize their full potential. So today, I'm looking for introductions to global tech firms, such as Microsoft and Google, to integrate their globally recognized certification programs at scale. And with your support, we can ensure that millions of people have the chance to blossom. Thank you.
Thank you, Haley, Johannes, and Jeff. Thank you so much. Really riveting presentations, don't you think? So behind these incredible Sheng Fellows stand communities, villages, countries. As Haley said, it is impossible to do this alone. And that is why at SICI, we believe that events like this one are really important. I always say to my friends that I often call up and say, hey, could you help me with this and this? I say, you know, it takes a village to raise a child, and it takes many villages, many global villages to raise an impactful social enterprise. And I really offer you tonight the opportunity to become part of those villages for each of our fellows. So SICI puts together these events so that you can come and get to know the fellows, and we will have plenty of time. You will have time to speak to all of them if you want to, and also so that you can get to know each other. So let's do a quick exercise together. We'll take 3 minutes before we hear the next fellows. You can turn to somebody that you don't know yet and tell them why you're here tonight. Or perhaps you could even tell them what it is that you particularly enjoyed about one of the presentations. And I'm going to give you 3 minutes. Don't be shy. Go for it. Speak with each other. And we will reconnect back here in 3 minutes, okay? Welcome back. I hate to break you away from your chat, but we have to move on. Okay. What have I done? I know, I started something great and then I interrupted it. I do that a lot. Okay, so to be continued, right? These conversations to be continued. And the point I want to make really strongly, because I've sat in the seat of the social entrepreneur, is that you can all become those ripples that will follow on and amplify their social impact in the world. And there is nothing more fulfilling. I have been doing it for the last 2 years. There's nothing, I mean, of course, other than parenting my children, that I love doing more, okay? Now, the third group is a really, really great group, and it's a fitting group as we sit here in the Kennedy School of Government. They are working on the mammoth task of fulfilling democracy's promise. The democratic vision of governments for the people, by the people, is one that has shaped the modern world. But governments, like other systems, need consistent work and support to follow through on their outcomes and to stay true to their values. These three initiatives support democracies, but the kind of democracies that are ensuring that they represent their people, that they serve their people, and they stay accountable to their people. So please join me in warmly welcoming David Rivieros Garcia. I will read all three names. Helen Shabunya and Ashrita.
Corruption steals our future. It's why schools fall apart. Meals don't reach children, and millions grow up without a fair shot. Just like my parents, who grew up in extreme poverty during a dictatorship and barely finished high school in their 30s. Corruption breaks governments, and it breaks our trust in each other. I am David Riveros Garcia. At 17, I nearly went to jail, a few times, for leading a month-long student protest against corruption. That's when I started Reacción, an anti-corruption nonprofit in Paraguay. At Reacción, we help communities use technology to work with governments to solve problems, either through pressure or partnership, usually both. For over 15 years, we've worked side by side with communities to track public spending and demand results. That's how we ensure that money meant for school buildings and meals actually reaches the students who need it most. That's critical, because every year, governments around the world spend $13 trillion on public contracts. Less than 3% of that is transparent. And here's the problem. Government transparency or community action disconnected rarely leads to change. That's why our model is needed. We make that connection. Reacción builds technology that turns information that is complex from government data into clear information that communities can use. It helps students, parents, and teachers see what's promised, what's missing, and how to take action together. On one of our tech platforms, a student uploaded a photo of a classroom with a leaking roof. A school principal found about $200,000 of funding that never arrived. And government officials verified that approved funding was not spent as intended. All this information in one place helps citizens and governments work together to fix these problems. And it works. We've reformed national policy. 5 times more schools got resources thanks to our work. The World Bank researched and published about our innovations. And we annually benefit 1.3 million students in Paraguay. Our tools can be used by over 50 national governments and any city that publishes public spending data. Right now, there is no global organization or network connecting civic technology with community action. With your support, Reacción, we can fill that gap. We want to work with you. So together, we can transform public accountability to fight corruption in more places, to unlock every child's right to learn and thrive. Thank you.
Juma Chidintaga, meaning our wealth is in the soil. This is a proverb from Malawi, a beautiful country with arable land, fresh waters, powerful rivers that flow like the blood in my vein. Why then are 8 in 10 people hungry? Hello, Mulibwanji. I am Helen Chabunya. I am a farmer's daughter that inherited a loss-making farming enterprise and turned it around into a profit-making enterprise. Now I lead national efforts in transforming the agricultural sector, both on the policy side as a candidate running for office and the vice president of my political party, but also as a practitioner with 15 years boots on the ground farming experience. As a commercial farmers president in my country for the society, and as the government in waiting, I've made ending hunger in my country my mission. How will I do that? I give you Chuma. Chuma means wealth. We are the only social enterprise that unlocks land for smallholder farmers. We match them with commercial farming estates that are sitting idle or in disuse, but also government land. We put those to use. Most importantly, after we've matched our farmers, we provide them with training, sustainable land preparation, as well as farm inputs and market access. Most importantly, what we do is transition smallholder farmers from being food insecure to food sovereignty. I've got a question for you. What does food sovereignty mean to you? I'll tell you. In my country, in our culture, we used to have the Mkokwe's. The Mkokwe is now disappearing. It's a grain store. That was a symbol of pride, but also an indicator to the community that the family homestead had food. With their disappearance, it means our homes are hungry. I want to restore Kokwes in Malawi. And how am I going to do that? Let me tell you about Nachi Sale, one of our clients at Chuma. In the first year, we matched Nachi Sale with land. Importantly, provided her inputs, and by the second year, she was food secure. Nachi Sale was able to grow food for herself, but also some to sell. she became a commercial farmer. And you know what? By year 3 and year 4, Nachisale had food security. But most importantly, next year, as Nachisale graduates out of Chuma, Nachisale will be a landowner. You see, after we've given them land access, we also help them to own land as they graduate. This is the Chuma model. Chuma effectively multiplies incomes by 5. We started out with only 5,000 acres. We've scaled to 50,000 acres in Malawi. But we want to do more. And as we grow Chuma to a national program, we want to scale to 400,000 acres. Guess what? We've already got the MOUs signed with commercial farming estates that are idle and government as well. So we're ready to play. My ask to you, I want you to partner with me. Invest in my family. My kids are right there. The next generation of farmers in Malawi. We want you to invest in real scalable solutions to end hunger. We are seeking finance. We want you to join our family. But most importantly, I believe a Malawi where no person goes hungry is possible. We can do it. Thank you so much.
My mother is a beedi roller. She hand rolls cigarettes. Every day, my mother and her friends sit in a circle, share stories, and roll beedies. They laugh, they cry, they love and care for each other. At the same time, I was deeply disturbed by their stories of poverty and patriarchy, of choicelessness and hopelessness. I saw how the world had excluded them, ignored them, and failed them. I thought I was destined to live a life like them, a life of no voice and no choice. But this is not just my mother's story or her friend's story or my story. This is the story of many women in my state. Tamil Nadu has more female voters than male voters, yet women occupy only 5% of the total elected representatives in the state. This has consequences. In 2022, a legislative panel for increasing the marriageable age for women had just 1 woman among 31 male members. This keeps me up at night. Women are missing from politics, from public places, and from decision-making tables. That is why, in 2023, Poorini and I co-founded Penn Collective, a women's collective to redefine the socio-political spaces for women in Tamil Nadu. The Penn Collective facilitates discussions around gender barriers in politics, runs capacity building programs to train women in political skills, and support advocacy programs to raise awareness about the issues facing women. In many ways, I believe we are recreating the same circle of women supporting other women I saw as a child. But this time, not around beedi rolling, but around political power, not from the margins, but from the mainstream. Since 2023, Penn Collective has engaged with 3,000 people through training, workshops, and discussions to challenge the gender barriers in politics. By building strong communities of women supporting other women, we are creating a political future where women, especially those from marginalized communities, have the tools, the support, and the necessary skills to lead at every level of government. This year, we are preparing to run for office, 100 women together. And we are looking for political mentors and sponsors to support each one of these 100 women. I am one of the 100 women. I am counting on you. We are counting on you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, David, Helen, and Ashrita. Thank you so much. Our fourth group this evening is focused on building sustainable futures. They understand that underpinning all of social change and all of the amazing work that we have seen thus far is the ability for us to find sustainable solutions to our everyday needs. Building sustainable futures is a track of students who are approaching the issue of this changing climate in two very unique ways. Underpinning both of them is the understanding that to adapt to a changing climate, to a growing population, and to a globalized world, there is a need for new ways to fulfill basic needs. And so it is my absolute pleasure to welcome the two Shang Fellows, Dominic Mensah and Dara Ademolekon. Thank you.
My parents, Ntiakuya and Najanyawa, struggled as smallholder farmers, living under $1.25 as they raised me and my 6 other siblings. Given their small farm size and rural location, they had no access to quality and affordable farm inputs, such as planting seeds and fertilizers for growing their crops. As climate changed, knowing when to plant or when to fertilize was merely impossible because they used no climate and farm data. And still worse, they couldn't even sell what they produce because they had no access to reliable buyers. Today, 100 million smallholder farmers, like my parents, are the lifeblood of feeding Africa. Yet, they lose 65% of what they grow on their farms because of extremely low productivity. According to the African Development Bank, this translates into 50 billion in annual farm income losses, financially crippling farmers like my parents and leaving them in deep poverty. My name is Dominic Mensah, the founder of Dumbo Farms. Dumbo Farms is making farming profitable for farmers like my parents so that they can make enough food from their farms to feed Africa's growing population. Dumbo Farms sets farmer support centers in rural villages and connects farmers to quality farm inputs, making it much more easier for them to sell what they produce. They leverage our technology platform to access climate and farm data to know exactly what to do on their farms to maximize their farm productivity. In 2022, we started in my own village in Ghana by empowering grain farmers and egg producers. Grain farmers rely on our centers to produce corn, after which they resell back into our centers for immediate access to market. We then use the corn to produce feed for our egg producers, who then resell back into our centers to get access to our network of buyers, getting the right price for their hard work. Both our grain farmers and egg producers leverage our technology platform to know exactly what to do on their farms on a daily basis. Since we started, we've empowered more than 2,000 farmers in Ghana, and collectively, we farmed more than 5,000 acres of land and produced 70 million eggs to feed our communities. Within a year of working with us, our farmers more than doubled their incomes. And with these improved incomes, they are sending 2 to 3 of their children back to school. They are gaining access to better health care, had more time to themselves and their families, and critically, securing access to quality food. Last year, my parents, one of the first farmers with Dumbo Farms, were named Best Regional Farmers by the Ghana Ministry of Agriculture. We are raising $1 million to extend this transformational story to 10,000s of farmers across Ghana and Africa by scaling our distribution centers and our technology platform. Connect with us to change lives together. Thank you.
Think about the last time you enjoyed a cup of coffee or indulged in some chocolate. My name is Dara Malakin, and as a college student, I've had my fair share of both. But in my defense, I do think I was born to. My birthday is July 7th, World Chocolate Day, the day that chocolate was first introduced in Europe back in 1550, where it was adored in coffee houses across the continent. But I stand in front of you today, 5 centuries later, because the way chocolate and coffee reach Europe is about to change forever. Last year, the EU introduced its regulation on deforestation, the EUDR. It requires that commodities are proven deforestation-free in order to be sold in the EU. It's enforceable by next year. This regulation is pretty consequential for Latin America, where up to 22% of the region's exports could be affected, a value of around $1.3 billion US. But beyond the financials, there's also human consequences, as 15.7 million jobs across Latin America depend on these 2 industries. I know this because I've spoken to the people who hold these jobs, be it farmers, processors, technicians, and importers. Throughout our conversations, they've identified challenges that can prevent this regulation from actually delivering on its social and environmental goals. Today, I can distill these issues down into just 2 key components. The first is that farmers need labor and technical support. They've described the process of mapping, gathering the data that they need in order to comply with the regulation, as being both time-consuming and labor-intensive. Beyond that, young people in the Dominican Republic and across Latin America need training and employment opportunities. There's a large digital skill gap across Latin America, and closing it is essential for young people to be able to access decent jobs. There's a clear need for an intervention that can address both of these issues. Introducing Regeneración, the EUDR reimagined. Regeneración engages stakeholders from across the cocoa and coffee supply chains. It upskills youth, training them in agricultural technology and digital adoption. It then deploys these skills, creating the documents that farmers need to comply with the regulation. In doing so, it regenerates livelihoods, creating stronger, more resilient rural agricultural economies. And so you're probably wondering, beyond my birthday, why me? Firstly, I'm a great-granddaughter. My great-grandfather was a cocoa farmer, and the sacrifices he made years ago are what brought me the opportunity to be here today. I'm also a researcher. I just submitted 140 pages on this regulation, so I've gotten to know it pretty well. I'm also a practitioner. I aim to take these ideas, these lessons that I've learned, and drive them into concrete, meaningful action. To date, Regeneración has raised $50K in non-dilutive grant funding. We have a pilot for this summer in Honduras, and we have a curriculum design underway. We're currently raising funding to reach our goal of training 100 youth across Latin America within this next year. We're also seeking connections to any organizations who might be willing to donate old smartphones to help support our work. Latin America needs a regeneration, a regeneración, and I hope you'll join us in creating one. Thank you.
Dominic and Dara, thank you so much, and thank you all of you, Sheng Fellows. This is your last huge applause for them. So, And for me, it has been such a joy to be with you this evening, but it has been such an honor to accompany you and travel with you, some of you, because I haven't been able to work with all of you yet, for the past year. So now that you have heard from the fellows and from some of the faculty, I want you to also hear a bit more about the program itself. And it is such a pleasure to introduce Devin Samuels, who is a senior program manager at SICI, to join me on this stage. I am so excited about his session because he is also one of the greatest spoken word poets in America. No pressure.
Oh, man. Yeah, no pressure, someone said. So thank you so much, Lily, for your words and for the work throughout this year with these fellows and for hosting tonight. Clap it up for Lily. Look at y'all. So hello, my name's Devin Samuels, and I am a longtime practitioner, educator, spoken word artist, and the senior program manager here at SICI. And after a long year of working so closely with these fellows, I have the honor of sharing some words and just a bit about the program and a poem. Throughout this year, these fellows have worked tirelessly on their efforts to change the world for the better. They spend every Tuesday night studying practitioner and academic frameworks, learning to create larger and more meaningful impact, and then applying these learnings in real time to their initiatives and to each other's initiatives. This program is not detached, but embedded into their work, with hours spent between each session, testing theories, launching pilots, and demonstratively refining their strategies. They build with steadfast mentorship from our visiting social innovators like Lily, from consistent coaching from the SICI staff like myself, Ali, and Brittany, and most importantly, with insight and support from each other. It has been incredible to witness their growth as a cohort and the ways they collectively imagine a more liberated future. This year, in order to strengthen this imagination, we leveraged the power of art to push our vision forward. A poem we discussed, which I'm about to share with you, lists image after image of oppression turned on its head and offers the perspective that the first step to liberation is always the ability to dream of that liberation. This poem, written in 1996 by Martina Spada, repeats the phrase, "This is the year," pushing us to not only imagine change eventually, but to imagine it right now. Every one of these fellows practices this imagination in order to forge their path forward, and I hope you leave here tonight able to imagine and then take action to create a better world. Imagine the Angels of Bread by Martina Spada. This is the year that squatters evict landlords, gazing like admirals from the rail of the roof deck or levitating hands in praise of steam in the shower. This is the year that shawled refugees deport judges who stare at the floor in their swollen feet as files are stamped with their destination. This is the year that police revolvers stove-hot blister the fingers of raging cops and nightsticks splinter in their palms. This is the year that dark-skinned men lynched a century ago return to sip coffee quietly with the apologizing descendants of their executioners. This is the year that those who swim the borders undertow and shiver in boxcars are greeted with trumpets and drums at the first railroad crossing on the other side. This is the year that the hands pulling tomatoes from the vine uproot the deed to the earth that sprouted that vine. The hands canning tomatoes are named in the will that owns the bedlam of the cannery. This is the year that the eyes stinging from the poison that purifies toilets awaken at last to the sight of a rooster-loud hillside, a pilgrimage of immigrant birth. This is the year that cockroaches become extinct, that no doctor finds a roach embedded in the ear of an infant. This is the year that the food stamps of adolescent mothers are auctioned like gold doubloons and no coin is given to buy machetes for the next bouquet of severed head in coffee plantation country. If abolition of slave manacles began as a vision of hands without manacles, then this is the year. If the shutdown of extermination camps began as the imagination of a land without barbed wire or the crematorium, then this is the year. If every rebellion begins with the idea that conquerors on horseback are not many-legged gods, that they too drown if plunged in the river, then this is the year. So may every humiliated mouth, teeth like desecrated headstones, fill with the angels of bread. Thank you. We in this room tonight can envision, then create the world even better than the one we have. And it's not in the distant future, but right now. This is the year. And you in this room and these fellows are not doing it alone. It is from this purpose and drive that SICI was born 10 years ago. And this means that the incredible change makers you heard tonight join a legacy of impact that spans the past decade. So I'm honored to, in this culminating moment, to speak about that impact over distance and time, to welcome our founding executive director, Brittany Butler.
Hey everyone. Devin, thank you so much. Yeah, that poem, every time. I'm Brittany Butler. I'm the founding executive director of the Social Innovation and Change Initiative. I'm a faculty member here at the Kennedy School, and what feels like way too long ago now, I was once a practitioner in the field as well. And I have the honor of closing our program for the evening. So we created this event, obviously, to celebrate the students and to accelerate their work, but we also created it because of you. Events like these, when they're done well, like a stirring poem, help us see the world as it is and imagine what it could be. It takes a lot of courage to face the status quo, to really sit with it and name it, and to not look away. It's uncomfortable, and sometimes hope can feel out of reach. In the course that I teach here at the Kennedy School, we often say that hope really isn't a state of mind, and it's not really a feeling, it's a practice. And it's a practice that we really can't carry out alone. We have to do it together, across difference, across time. And so I want to thank you for showing up tonight and continuing that practice, for hearing the next generation of leaders and what they have to say, and for continuing to believe in what's actually possible for all of us. This showcase marks the end of the Accelerator program for this year's fellows. Kind of amazing. They're going to be graduating very soon and joining a network of 125 alumni across 33 countries who are advancing social and environmental change around the world. And as Lily and Julie shared, this moment, and Devin, this moment also marks our 10-year anniversary. So in that time, Cheng Fellows have directly served, this is not related to the policies they've changed, just directly served at least 138 million people around the world. They're working across 17 of the Sustainable Development Goals, all the SDGs from the United Nations, and they're on every continent except for Antarctica, but I'm sure we'll eventually get there. They're changing laws, they're holding office, they're running for office, they're leading multi-million-dollar organizations, they're producing films, they're writing best-selling books, some before the age of 25 years old. But beyond the outcomes, I think what inspires me, and I hope you all feel this way too, is just that they do this work in community together. They get that there is not a single person who's going to save the world, like it has to be us all. Year after year, they talk about how isolating it can be to do this work and how the connections they build through the program keep them going. We did a survey, and even alumni 10 years out say that they speak with another Cheng Fellow at least once a month. That sense of shared purpose, the thread of connection between all of us, is incredibly powerful, and it matters more than ever because in many of the communities where our fellows work, resources have essentially evaporated, sometimes overnight. And they're going to need to navigate new terrain, new realities. We all know that, but so must we. As a community that believes in these leaders, we have to evolve alongside them. We have to innovate in terms of how we support them, how we invest in them, and how we walk with them while they're doing that hard, transformative work of social change. So as Julie said at the start, tonight, whether you're here in person or tuning in online, I really do ask you to do one thing before you leave to support one of these people. You can share a resource, you can make a connection, you can offer an idea. One gesture, and I have seen it literally every single year after this event, can transform the work of the people that just presented tonight. And sometimes you don't know which thing it is. You've just got to have the faith, right? We say teaching is an act of faith. This work is also oftentimes an act of faith. If you're joining virtually, you can find more contact information about each of the presenters in the chat, and we'll follow up tomorrow with more ways to connect. If you're here in person, we still have a little time. Please feel free to stay until 8:30, a little after maybe. Fellows will be stationed around the room. Please enjoy, have a bite, have a drink. And finally, I can't believe I'm saying this, but while this year's program is wrapping up, our 2025 fellowship program application launches in just 2 weeks on May 2nd. If you or someone you know might be a good fit for this community, please talk to a fellow tonight. They obviously know the program best. Feel free to come and talk with us. So let's give one final round of applause for this extraordinary group of people. And thank you so much for taking your precious time to be with us tonight. Have a great night. Thank you.